Hi guys, it's Brooke Maki here in Spark Salon in Maple Grove, Minnesota. I am so excited to be on your screen right now because becoming a L'Oreal educator is my next step in my life, next milestone, next goal to get further to where I want to be. And it's exciting to me to be able to have the chance to get to a point where I can inspire others and get inspired by them. So I always say, climbing the mountain, everybody wants to get to the top, but I want to enjoy this climb, and I feel that L'Oreal would be able to provide the opportunities for me to climb the mountain and continue in their legacy and be able to educate and spread the love. So a little bit about myself. I've been doing hair for 3 years. I am a level 2 stylist. In those 3 years, I'm putting my year of college into there. So it's been I did about 8 months in the advanced training here at Spark Salon with Heather Clement / Carlson now. And I was on the floor in May of 2018. And I am now a level 2 stylist. And I'm so happy to be able to have challenges like that in my career, to be able to strive for something every day, and to be able to build a beautiful clientele that I love and care about, and be able to also create a huge salon family where we can all learn off of each other and get inspired by each other. Speaking of inspiration, in this industry, I've found that people either starting out have a hard time getting inspiration to start out and to push for their goals. And I also find that some people who have been in the industry for so long can easily lose their inspiration. So to be able to do that one day, to be able to inspire other people to keep going or to go, would be so rewarding for myself and would keep my inspiration up. I also have mentioned in my resume that we have a bunch of soldiers in this industry, and it's a beautiful thing how all of us are creative artists who are just gunning for their dreams, making people beautiful, making people feel beautiful. But I kind of think we should build an army. For us to come together would be such a beautiful thing, and to spread that love would be amazing. A little bit more about myself is I like to put humor into educating. I do the makeup education here at Spark Salon. Obviously, it gets to a point where you put too much comedy, you do your stand-up, during the class, and people get a little, not focused. But when you're so hard in teaching something and somebody's getting frustrated, to add that little joke can lighten the mood. So, just so you guys know, I have a red nose. I was born with one. A little bit more about myself, I would say, is that I am a outside of the lines type person. So people like to, I'll learn the fundamentals, I'll learn the precision cutting and stuff like that. I love the fundamentals. Going back to that creates that foundation where you're able to, in any situation, go back to your fundamentals and know how something works. Whether or not you've learned it, you can kind of guide your way through it and make it to that destination you need to be at. I am also freeform cutter, but it all stems back from that fundamentals. So I feel like basics are super important when educating. Along with the inspiration, like I said, and just having fun with it and loving what you do. So getting into the history of L'Oreal, it all starts in 1904 with Eugene Schweller in France, and he begins to create the first permanent color. And as that goes on, it starts to spiral down into huge, big things. The amount of stuff that Eugene Schweller does is amazing. The companies he invests in, the many jack of all trades he is just so interesting. So to begin, Eugene Schweller created the first permanent color, and then, which was in 1907, and then he created L'Oreal, which is the beginning of L'Oreal. Once he creates this awesome color, he obviously needed to get it out into the world that this is a brand new thing that could start a revolution. So he goes off to a magazine, and he goes into the, like, creating an article with doctors backing him up, chemists backing him up, along with himself, and then art writers, and they begin to create this huge article that hits France, talking about how innovative and awesome this hair color is, and it just takes off from there. Keep in mind, this is 1904 to where he like begins this idea, to 1912 where he buys this magazine. So jack of all trades, there you go. Eugene is amazing. Then 1910, Eugene started to talk to Paris hairstylists and talk to them and convince them to start using this hair color, which then, you know, networking starts to, you know, spread, starts a bond with the hair industry. And then within like 3 years, it goes from, it starts in France, goes to Italy, then it goes to, you know, like all over, and then it begins to go to the US. Within 3 years, this brand just spirals out of control. So things start to go, the, you know, hair color starts to spread, so the hair industry starts to grow also, which in 1928, OCAP, the hair lotion, which is shampoo, or like a not rinse out shampoo, this begins to bring shampoo to the market, which in France they had some like hygiene issues, so this became like a game changer. And so I kind of look at it as our modern day dry shampoo. So it was introducing what is now a huge part of our everyday industry of retail and home care, at-home care. So now we're in like 1928, and hair color starts to evolve into fast penetrating hair dye. And as like 1929 comes, we got the like hair colors becoming better, and then bam, here comes platinum blondes. So it was called L'Oreal Blanc, and he created the first lightener, and at first it was more of like warmer tones, and then it turned into like platinum blondes. And this was debuted in the film Platinum Blonde by Jean Harlow, and this brought it to Hollywood that blondes was the it thing. Hashtag blondes have more fun. This is the OG time. So that is where around like lightening began, and then we get into 1933 where at-home care starts to evolve, and Dapel, the first soap-free shampoo, which was free of fatty alcohol sulfates, started to begin. So who out there knows that like the first and easiest retail option when you are coloring someone's hair is the, you know, sulfate-free, color-saving hair colors, Vitamino, like that's the easiest thing to sell. Well, 1933, Dapel, that's where it's at, that's where it started. So then time goes on, it evolves a little bit more, but the golden years, the true years of L'Oreal started to become known as the great period of growth for L'Oreal, 1984 to 2000. So the owner switched, and during these years in the 1988, new styling product lines came out for the 80s, like big hair, we got the hairsprays, we got the gels, and then 1980s goes into like becoming the world leaders of cosmetics, which is so awesome, but crazy when you think about 1904 to 1988. You know, so much happened in that like long period of time, but looks like it was worth it to become the leaders of cosmetics in the world. So the hair color started to evolve too, which was the first tone-on-tone hair color with ammonia-free, the Dia color, which has evolved to today also. But just to look back at all these different things that you know, Eugene Schweller created in 1904, and it just snowballed into something so beautiful, is incredible to me. As time goes on, we keep evolving, we keep coming out with new stuff. L'Oreal begins to create different branches, which just shows that like the legacy Eugene Schweller created, and he wanted it to stay a certain way, has definitely kept to its name, which makes L'Oreal so awesome and like traditional. And with how Eugene created colors in the beginning to more of the like natural, subtle shades, like it's such a beautiful thing. When women started to work in France and they started to worry about how they looked and their appearance and like how they carried themselves, with gray coverage becoming a huge thing, it created the cosmetic world and gave us that outlet for us to express ourselves and to feel good about ourselves. So this is just amazing, the history here. So this was just a quick overview of L'Oreal. There's so much more, so many different timeline places that you could like branch off into something else. Like L'Oreal didn't just create a brand and create a revolution, but they created like different legacies in different areas, which is so amazing. And I am happy to be able to be a part of it and use their brands and to educate others. So today I'll be showing you the 3D painting, which is a form of hair painting / balayage. So the reason why you would use this is to get a full coverage for those blondes out there. Instead of surface painting, you're getting each surface of the check mark of hair you take, based off of how big of a check mark you like to take versus bigger one, or do square or triangle, whatever you feel. Today I'll be doing a triangle check mark, kind of off of the traditional balayage. And what we're wanting for her today is to, instead of make her completely blonde, we are gonna give her that extra pop of the tone she has right here. So we're not gonna lift her a ton, but we're gonna fully saturate the ends and surface paint each side of the triangle and then get that pop of blonde. What we'll be using is the Platinum Plus. So I like this because she has more of a fragile, finer hair type, and I like to use this for less breakage, but to get that enough lift where we're gonna see something. So this has 7 levels of lift, up to 7 levels of lift, and it is a paste, lightning paste, and it was created by L'Oreal. L'Oreal created the first lightning paste, which is amazing. It contains white beeswax, which is another way to protect her hair and with breakage, along with the at-home care, which I will be suggesting as Enforcer, which contains B6 and biotin, which is going to keep her hair from continually breaking and to strengthen the hair to make it so she can have more fun with her hair later on. She is the finer type of hair, so I feel that any kind of hair type could use this. It's a win for everyone from my experience. And so I'll be using that on her today. For my developer level, I'm gonna be doing a 30 in the pouch. Blonde Studio developer, Nutra developer. Just because we don't want like a ton of lift, but we want enough to really get that pop. So I mixed that up here, 1:2 ratio with a whisk, and really make sure you break up all of that paste. The beeswax can make it clump up together, but if you really get at it with a metal whisk and really get it creamy, it is such a great substance to be able to lay on top of her fine hair and really get that lift that we want without it like falling through and stuff. So I'm going to get started with the sectioning techniques I use. It's pretty basic. I start from, the apex of her head down to the back of the ear, and pull back this section here, flip it back, And then I'll be starting from the other side and going all the way to the behind the ear again and clipping this back. So I'm gonna be doing the back section in V's, V-sectioning, and then in the front I'll be doing a diagonal back up each section. I'm keeping her on her natural part that she usually parts on because this is going to help me determine how much of a pop I want it to have. So when the hair lives in its natural state, like down here, and you're painting, that's gonna be more of a pop. So where you paint and where it stays is where it's gonna be. When you elevate a little bit, it's gonna diffuse it a bit and possibly you might lose that extra pop. So for what I'm gonna be doing, I want some movement. I don't want it to be too blocky. That's why I'm doing the diagonal backs and going about 3 sections up on her smaller side, and then probably like 5 or 6 more on the other side, and then doing the V sectioning in the back. All right, so to let you guys know about how I lay out my tray, everybody has their way of laying out their tray, but to have an organized method is always going to cut back on your timing. So I have my perforated plastic right here, my tools, the cotton pieces that are going to go underneath to make sure there's no transfer to the lightener onto other hair to keep it clean, being that you're going to be painting each surface. Then I have my loading brush, so this will be loading onto the planchette that I will be using to create beads and to lay them on top of the surfaces. And then I have my painting brush. So just to keep it clean, you know, have a loading brush, to have a clean brush and be able to do nice clean lines is really important. All right, so right here I made my first section, which is about, you know, 1 inch above the ear. I want to make sure that we have enough negative space to light space, so I don't want to go too light around because then we're going to lose that contrast that she likes. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this up. And then me and her discussed, she likes to keep a little bit of her darker color around her face. So I'm going to go about 1 inch in and do one 3D painting in the middle of this section to make sure she keeps that brunette around her face, but then has the fun pops throughout. So I was gonna take that check mark section that I talked about in the beginning. And so we have the first surface right here. If you move it over, then you have another surface right here. And then when you move it over again, you got the other surface right there. So with her, I'm gonna be doing singles to give it a better pop. The single is starting from the corner and going down gradually to about, you know, the top middle. And then I'm going to be fully saturating from the zone 3 of the hair. So first I am going to take my planchette, load my area for needing to create a bead. I'm going to take my section, go ahead and make sure you get make it a clean section, pulling down all the flyaways and pinching midway and putting it at an elevation you like, whether or not you want diffusion or to have it being a loud pop piece. So in this case, we're going to do a loud pop. I'm going to take a bead and I'm going to go ahead and start and work my way up. With 3 swipes, I'm going to reload. And walk it up and then walk it down. Now when you go down swipes, you're taking product off. So if you're wanting to create a little bit more saturation right here so you have a better lift, if you need to diffuse that a little bit more, do up, and then it will keep that product there. If you go down, you can take some product away. So we're going to fully saturate it, do the top of this about to the midway. And now we're going to switch it to our 3D side. Make sure you stay clean. And we're gonna start it there. I'm starting on the end where I was up the most. I'm gonna reload. Create my bead. And then go ahead and start my single and go down from there. Make sure I get a nice even saturation for an even lift. And then I'm gonna lift her up for the other side and continue to do my single. Now once I've done that, I'm gonna drop it, put onto my planchette. I'm gonna load a little bit more up. And then midway down, I am going to fully saturate and make sure that everything's saturated on the back also. And make it nice and smooth. Then once I do that, being that we did paint the other end, I'm gonna put down a protection cotton piece and then grab my perforated plastic. I like to put one underneath to keep the cape clean, keep them clean, and then one on top. Now as you do this, just keep with your angle back sectioning. So I'm going to continue these sectionings, 2 more sections up, then I am going to let her sit for 15 to up to 50 minutes. So one more thing you guys need to know about me is that with my passion and my drive, I know I'm going to do big things someday. And I would love to have the opportunity to be able to work hand in hand with L'Oreal and make those big things happen. So let me know if you're ready.